Hi, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to another quick live. This one is entitled Trump's Immigration Ban, Everything You Need to Know. This live will be addressing the proclamation signed by President Trump yesterday, April 22nd. And we'll go into detail as to what it exactly says, how it impacts different classes of individuals, and then I'll address some questions. If you have any questions while I'm speaking, you can type them in the comment box and I will answer your questions live. So just to begin really quick, my name is Afia Yunus. I am the owner of Yunus Law. We are an immigration law practice focusing on removal defense, family-based, and business immigration. We have an office in Mount Laurel, New Jersey, and in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Our website is www.unislaw.com. So just to jump in, yesterday, as some of you may be aware, President Trump signed into order an immigration ban. Who does this affect? So who exactly does this new policy cover? And it covers anyone who was outside the United States on April 23rd, so that's today. Anyone who does not currently have a valid immigrant visa as of today at 11:59 p.m. or any other official travel document. So anyone who is applying for an immigrant visa from abroad will be banned. So he has put a temporary stop on the issuance of immigrant visas from abroad to come into the United States. How long is this policy going to last? Many people have asked me this. For now, it will last for 60 days from the date of effectiveness, which is today. But that is pending, any further analysis by the president. So it's open to be extended if he chooses to extend it. But for now, the effectiveness is from today for 60 days. So no immigrant visas will be issued for people who are applying for immigrant visas from abroad. Now, who does this exempt? And this is really key because the term ban and immigrant ban is really furthering the current administration's policy of seeding fear and confusion. And so here I find it important that we stay informed. There are significant exceptions to this ban. The first of which is spouses of United States citizens. Okay, so I have a lot of clients who married a U.S. citizen, and U.S. citizen lives in the United States, but they live abroad. Those individuals are exempt from this ban. If you are a U.S. citizen and your spouse is abroad and they're applying for an immigrant visa, this ban does not apply to them. Secondly, obviously, the ban does not apply to lawful permanent residents. Anyone who's already a green card holder, this does not apply to you. It only applies to those people who are outside the United States applying for an immigrant visa. If you already have an immigrant visa, if you already have a green card, it does not apply to you. Third, children of United States citizens under the age of 21. So this would be, again, the immediate relative classification. These are exempt from the ban. So if you are a U.S. citizen here in the United States and you petition for your child who lives abroad, that child can apply for his or her immigrant visa and will be exempt from the ban. Another exception that was particularly put into place because of the current pandemic was individuals entering on an immigrant visa as a physician, nurse, or other healthcare professional, or anyone who's going to perform any type of essential research or medical research to combat or alleviate the effects of COVID-19. I'm assuming that when the individual goes to apply for the immigrant visa, they will have to state this exception, and they will have to present evidence to show that they meet this exception. And this goes to any and all exceptions. The burden of proof is always on the applicant. So the applicant needs to make sure that they have the evidence, the documentation to prove that the ban does not apply to them. There are some other minor exceptions, but these are the really important ones. A lot of people had asked about refugees and asylum seekers. Those are also exempt. So the proclamation specifically states that individuals seeking asylum, refugee status, or withholding of removal because of torture, those are all going to be people who can apply for the immigrant visa. So those people are exempt as well. Those are the really important provisions of the ban. If you have any other specific questions about that, let me know. You can put it in the comment box. But that's what's most important. I'll go into some of the questions that I had. Again, just to summarize, the ban only applies to people outside the United States as of today who do not have a green card or immigrant visa issued already, who are applying for an immigrant visa to come to the United States, and they are not the spouse or child of a U.S. citizen. So those are the people who will be banned. Now, the first question I got was, and I got this from a couple of people, was fiancé visa applicants. So for those of you who don't know this, fiancé visas are considered non-immigrant visas. That means they're not immigrant visas. There is a there's an intention to stay here temporarily just to get married. So K-1 visa holders or visa applicants are exempt from this ban. This ban only applies to immigrant visa applicants. So if you have a fiancé abroad, and they're going to apply for a fiancé visa, this will not apply to them. Moreover, if you can only apply for a fiancé visa if you're engaged to a U.S. citizen. If you decide to get married, again, the ban would not apply to you because you would be a spouse of a U.S. citizen. Another question I received is spouse of a lawful permanent resident. Unfortunately, if you are the spouse of a lawful permanent resident and you are applying for an immigrant visa, this ban does apply to you as written. If you if you're a green card holder and you petitioned your spouse, and the visa has become available, unfortunately, they will be subject to the ban. Another question I received is parents of a U.S. citizen. Unfortunately, as written, parents of a U.S. citizen are also subject to the ban. The only individuals who are exempt as relatives of a U.S. citizen are spouses and children. Children defined as being under the age of 21. Unfortunately, parents of U.S. citizens will not be able to apply for the immigrant visa. They are going to be subject to the ban. Another question I received is, my brother won the green card diversity visa last year and was supposed to have an interview on April 14th. It was canceled due to the quarantine. Does he have hope to still get the green card, or is it going to be extremely hard now? What's the timeline? So the diversity visa would allow this individual to apply for an immigrant visa abroad. Unfortunately, he would not fall under any of the exceptions unless there was a healthcare professional exception that would apply. The interview being canceled on April 14th is because embassies abroad have been severely understaffed, or most of them have closed due to the pandemic. So unfortunately, they will likely reschedule the interview, and at that time, hopefully, the 60 days will expire, but we really can't say with certainty right now. President Trump did leave open in the proclamation that he may extend this ban even further. I would stay on top of it, continue to contact the embassy, because they will reschedule the interview whenever they open back up. and you want to make sure that the ban either expires or that you can somehow delay the interview until it does expire. Another question I received live is how much longer is process time? So it really depends on the type of application or petition that you're speaking about. But for the most part, expect significant delays. Processing times have already nearly tripled and quadrupled as we moved into the second and third year of the Trump administration. So processing times that you saw 5-10 years ago, they're long gone. They're a dream. And so now we're looking at longer processing times. What we can expect now is USCIS stated that they did cut back on staffing. They're continuing to process applications, but I would say it's safe to say to expect significant delays in processing. Another question I received is this executive order going to impact someone's case related to the issuance of a green card, which is already under process? This is a really good question. The key difference between applying for a green card from within the United States and someone applying for an immigrant visa outside the United States. So from this proclamation, it's fairly clear that this ban does not apply to anyone who's applying for a green card who's already in the United States. So from this question, if you're speaking about someone who's already in the US, who's applied for a green card, let's say they applied for adjustment of status, this ban does not apply to them. It only applies to people who are outside the United States as of today, the effective date. The question ends with how long is the executive order good for? As I've stated several times, it's effective for 60 days from today, but the president may extend that. The final question I have is my fiance is currently a student in the US on an F1 visa. He recently went back to his home in Canada. In terms of returning to the US, is he able to return or are there conditions? So he's on a student visa. The Canadian and US border is closed to non-essential travel, but if he does have to return to work, then that's considered essential travel. So for example, if he's on OPT or STEM OPT, he will be able to return from Canada and continue his work. The ban would not apply to him if, for example, you are a US citizen and he's going to apply for a K-1 visa. Does not apply to K-1 visa applicants. If you guys decide to get married, it also would not apply because spouses of US citizens are also not subject to the ban. So I'd just like to wrap this up. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. We will stay on top of this because it's likely that either it will change, more classifications of people will be included, or it will be extended. Rest assured that we'll stay on top of it. If there's any additional information, please follow our Facebook page at Eunice Law PC, or you can follow us on Instagram at Eunice Law. Remember, our website is www.eunislaw.com, and I'll post all of my lives, all the videos on there. If you have any further questions, especially about a specific case, please don't hesitate to contact me. Afia, AFIA at eunislaw.com. And thank you so much for tuning in. Please spread the knowledge. The misinformation is what causes the fear and uncertainty, and it's the knowledge and information from a reputable source that can dissipate that. Thank you so much. Take care.